everybody, welcome back to the Trading Post. You know, this here is Noodle, and I'm Fred, and we're going to do the first episode of Local Legends. All right? Now, this local legend is about what they like to call the Powell Mountain goat. It's an awesome legend, and I'm going to go through this. I'm going to go through what I've heard as far as the story as it is. I'm going to tell you the location of this, where this has happened, and we're going to go into some other stories similar to this, okay, to string it along and put a little bit more length into the video, because there's only so much on it. If you get a chance, you can check it out. I think they actually have a Facebook page for the Powell Mountain goat, okay, and I'll have to put that up here for you. But anyways, he's getting a little fidgety. I'll just let him lay down. There you go. Just lay down and go sleep there. You're fine. Anyways, okay, so far in my notes, I got, it says it's Route 19, mile marker 52.5, a little bit past the spot before Monongahela National Forest and New River Gorge. Powell Mountain is a mountain ridge of the Ridge and Valley Appalachian of the Appalachian Mountain. It is a long and narrow ridge running northeast to southwest from Norton, Virginia to Tazewell, Tennessee. Okay, how long was this? Okay, I'm not going to go into that yet. We're going to do that later. Location, roughly Summersville area, but between Summersville and New River Gorge is where this incident's happened. Okay. Now the story is as I was told this. We're going to go into that here in a second. Okay. All right. Now the story, as I know that I was told this, okay, was one day a farmer who had a load of goats. He was hauling in a stake bed trailer. Okay, happened to get a flat tire, so of course, he pulls over, assesses the situation, and begins to work on changing the tire. But in the middle of him doing so, supposedly 5 or 6 goats escaped, but he returned all but one accordingly. The man could not continue trying to get the goat, so he had to leave with the goats he had. According to what I have heard, the man was really upset and heartsick over this. So he tried numerous times as time passed by, but to no avail, could not find or catch the goat. Supposedly, passers-by would consistently see this goat at the top of the rock cliffs or even down by the road. But as luck would have it, every time the man came, the goat was nowhere to be seen. But as fate would have it, this lone goat would survive 16 years in the wild and consistently return to that exact spot. Okay, now, as far as this goes, let's just take a real quick assessment of this, okay? From what I just was telling you as far as the story I knew, okay? Let's break it down. First of all, think about a goat can easily eat anything, so finding food's not a problem. They're a living lawnmower, okay? They'll eat green briars, they'll eat glass, they'll eat anything. And it's like they don't bother them. So think about predators. Now, how did it avoid predators from killing it for that long? I mean, i.e. bears, wolves, coyote, whatever. How did it avoid that? That's a feat in itself for 16 years. It's a long time when you think about it. And thirdly, think about how did it survive the elements? Okay? No matter what, it needed to have shelter. So where did it go? You would assume it'd have to be probably a cave or something. It'd have to. So, let all this sink in and think about it. 16 years it survived. Okay? But now someone I do not know who exactly, maybe the farmer, maybe family, maybe close friend of family, had cut a metal cutout of the goat as, I guess, a memorial for the goat, due to it no longer being seen. Possibly expected to have died of old age. But, okay, I did happen to find out more about this, so the rest of these notes that I'm going to go over, I'm going to go ahead and let you know who that was that did that. so that way they get their proper credit. Okay, now, do you think it was just this one goat or perhaps a couple of them? I've heard people say they thought maybe it might have been a couple of them. Or could it have been, as I was saying, a lone goat maybe? I would say it was probably that one goat. If it was always particularly seen in certain spots on that little cliff face or down below, it was always the same spots, and it appeared to be the same goat. Because goats can live that long. But this story to me is very interesting, and I do have similar tales to tell that might tickle your fancy. There's one called Shrek the Sheep, then there's Chris, and then there's one called Fiona. Okay, we're going to go into those ones here in a minute. But we're going to continue on with the Powell Mountain Goat right now. Okay, so Muddle T, West Virginia, Powell Mountain Goat. Fans of the nanny goat that has become a celebrity in central West Virginia are concerned about its apparent absence and are hoping someone can provide clues as to its whereabouts. Ann Johnson, a writer and photographer who became one of the goat's best-known protectors and devotees, spent an afternoon roaming the summit of Powell Mountain, but found no trace of it. It may be time to say goodbye, Johnson said, sadly, in a Facebook correspondence afterwards. Over the last decade and a half, the nanny goat has attracted the attention of motorists crossing Powell Mountain on the US 19 Expressway north of Summersville, West Virginia, where she grazed on cliffs. Fearing that the goat might be hit by a vehicle, Johnson said she has been recently concerned about reports that motorists had been feeding the goat along the roadside. She had even been told recently the goat had been hit but survived the collision. But I've heard that she had been hit and killed before, so I don't necessarily believe it, Johnson said. On the other hand, the lifespan of a solitary nanny in the wild is likely no more than a decade, and the goat has been grazing the cliffs for about 16 years, since she escaped from a farm at nearby Hookersville. Okay, this is the other saying of what happened. Johnson said she's marveled at the goat's resilience, surviving alone on the windswept hilltop. She certainly has been a survivor, and I think that we can all learn from that. We can all gather that strength that she always had when we are facing adversity, she said. Johnson said she hopes anyone who might have seen the goat will reach out through its Facebook fan page, which could become a memorial page should the goat have perished. When we know her time has come, there will be many people who will grieve that loss, she said. We need to provide a virtual space where people can talk about her and celebrate her life. Johnson said she hopes the memory of the Powell Mountain Goat inspires people to contribute to the welfare of animals. I also wanted to suggest that people donate to their local humane society or their favorite animal group in her honor, she said. So, so now we're going to go into this. The Powell Mountain Wiki. Okay, Powell Mountain, or Powell's Mountain, is a mountain ridge of the ridge and valley Appalachians of the Appalachian Mountains. It is a long and narrow ridge running northeast to southwest from about Norton, Virginia to near Tazewell, Tennessee. It separates the Clinch River Basin and the Powell River Basin of Powell Valley. It was named for an 18th century explorer. Its elevation averages between 1,500 to 2,500 feet, with its highest points above 3,000 feet. The highest point is Bowling Knob, 3,557 feet, near the northern end of the mountain. Powell Mountain is about 60 miles long. It is broken by one stream only, the North Fork Clinch River. North of the river, the mountain is less well defined as a ridge and merges with Stone Mountain and other mountains near the headwaters of Powell River. The southern part of the Powell Mountain is paralleled on the south by Newman Ridge and Stone Ridge. Between Powell Mountain and these ridges is Snake Hollow and the headwaters of Blackwater Creek. This area is known for its historic Melungeon population. Okay, now, A group of, and the Melungeons, which I have an episode of that, you can watch that if you want more insight into it, but I'll give you a quick note on it. A group of people from Appalachia who predominantly descend from northern or central European and sub-Saharan African men and women. Their white ancestors were likely brought to Virginia as indentured servants in the mid-17th century. Okay? So, now we're going to go to... Powell Mountain is crossed by U.S. Route 58 called Daniel Boone Trail Highway. The original wilderness road crossed the mountain nearby at Cain's Gap. Besides the large water gap of the North Fork Clinch River, there are numerous wind gaps. Some of the named gaps from south to north include Fugate Gap, Gibson Gap, Mulberry Gap, used by State Route 63, Bryson Gap, Sally Gap, Hunter Gap, used by State Route 70, Cain's Gap, Alicia Lick Gap, and Beaver Dam Gap. Now, note, water gap is a gap that flowing water has carved through a mountain range or mountain ridge and still carries water today. Now, a wind gap or air gap is a gap through which a waterway once flowed that is now dry as a result of stream capture. Now, stream capture is a geomorphological phenomenon occurring when a stream or river drainage system or watershed is diverted from its own bed and flows instead down the bed of a neighboring stream. This happens due to several reasons. One, tectonic earth movements where the slope of the land changes and the stream is tipped out of its former course. Or two, natural damming, such as by a landslide or ice sheet. Now, number three, erosion. Either one, headway erosion of one stream valley upwards into another, or two, lateral erosion of a meander through the higher ground dividing the adjacent streams. Or three, within an area of karst topography where streams may sink or flow underground, a sinking or losing stream, and then reappear in a nearby stream valley. Or four, a glacier retreat. The additional water flowing down the capturing stream may accelerate erosion and encourage the development of a canyon gorge, or a gorge. The now dry valley of the original stream is known as a wind gap. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about our buddy Shrek the sheep. Okay? He was born November 27th, 1994 in New Zealand. He passed June 6, 2011. He was 16 years old as well. Shrek was a merino wether, or a castrated male sheep, belonging to Bendigo Station, a sheep station near Taurus, New Zealand, who gained international fame in 2004. After he avoided being caught and shorn for 6 years. Merinos are normally shorn annually, but Shrek apparently hid in caves, avoiding muster. Hid in caves, avoiding muster. He was named after the fictional ogre in books and films of the same name. Now, sheep station is a large property whose main activity is the raising of sheep for their wool and or meat. Now, note, shorn is sheep shearing, or sheep shearing is the process by which the woolen fleece of a sheep is cut off. The person removing the sheep's wool is called a shearer. Now, a muster. A muster or roundup is the process of gathering livestock. Now, after finally being caught on April 15th, 2004, the wether was shorn by a professional in 20 minutes on April 28th. The shearing was broadcast on national television in New Zealand. His fleece contained enough wool to make 20 large men's suits weighing 60 pounds. An average merino fleece weighs around 10 pounds. With exceptional weights up to around 33 pounds. Shrek became a national icon. He was taken to Parliament to meet the then New Zealand Prime Minister Helen Clark in May 2004. To celebrate his 10th birthday in November 2006, 30 months after his initial shearing, Shrek was shorn again on an iceberg floating off the coast of Dunedin, New Zealand. Okay? Other cases like this, we have Chris, okay? July 2010 to October 2019. He was a merino ram who gained international fame in September 2015. After being shorn of a record amount of wool in Canberra, Australia, Chris was named after a sheep character in the sitcom Father Ted by local Bonner resident Sue Dowling, who spotted the sheep wandering in a paddock near the Bonner district in Canberra. Chris was found at Mulligan's Flat near the border of New Zealand, Wales, and Australian Capital Territory. His mobility has been impaired as a result of the weight of the fleece he had grown over more than 5 years. Domestic sheep like Chris, raised for their wool, have been bred not to lose their coat and need to be shorn regularly. So leaving the sheep unshorn would have put the animal at great risk of infection and or injury. Four-time Australian Shearing Championship winner Ian Elkins volunteered to shear the massive ram after being contacted by RSPCA Australia. Chris had to be sedated throughout the procedure, during which the shearer removed up to 89.2 pounds of thick wool after working about 42 minutes. Australian sheep are usually shorn annually, and their fleeces usually weigh about 11 pounds. Chris's fleece set a world record, beating previous records held by other runaway sheep such as Shrek, which was 60 pounds, and another one, Big Ben. Chris's fleece of 91 pounds was confirmed by Guinness World Records, but the length of fleece, 17 inches, meant it had no commercial value. It was estimated that Chris's fleece was enough to make 30 jumpers. Now, a jumper, if you don't know what they're saying about that, is a sweater or pullover or jersey. Chris was put up for adoption by the RSPCA, who reported that the sheep needed to recover from his operation and adjust to a life without a cumbersome blanket of wool. Although his hind legs may have suffered some permanent imbalance for years of bearing the extra weight. Hundreds of people offered to adopt Chris, but in September 2015, he was adopted by Little Oak Sanctuary in New South Wales, where he gradually became more confident with people. Okay? Now, Chris died of natural causes at 9 years old on October 22nd, 2019. In 2016, Chris's complete fleece, measured 63 inches long by 43 inches wide, was acquired by the National Museum of Australia, where it was put on display and has become a popular exhibit. A children's picture book about Chris's life after he was separated from his flock and before he was rescued was written by RSPCA and illustrated by Kylie Fogarty. Entitled The Misadventures of Chris the Sheep. The story offered young readers a possible explanation for why he grew so big. The book was an effort to educate children about animal welfare, and proceeds from its sale went to help RSPCA in the act to continue its work protecting, rescuing, caring, and advocating for animals in need. In 2022, an exhausted lost sheep was found on Mount Alexander in Victoria, named Alex, after the mountain on which he was found. The weight of the wool had created critical health problems for him, as it had for Chris. Alex was carrying 40 kilograms of unshorn wool, only slightly less than Chris. After shearing, he needed to save his life. He made a full recovery and joined a local animal shelter. Okay, that's all we had on Alex. Sorry it was so short on that one. But we have Fiona. Okay, now Fiona is a sheep that came to public attention in 2021 when she was spotted isolated at the base of a cliff on the shore of the Moray Firth in Scotland. From the Moray Firth, when she spotted the sheep, she subsequently saw the sheep in 2023 at the same location with a much overgrown fleece. Turner said that the sheep bleated to her and her fellow kayakers. She contacted several organizations with the aim of helping the sheep up the steep cliffs of the Firth. The sheep became national news in October 2023. The chief superintendent of the Scottish Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or Scottish SPA, Mike Flynn, said that it was aware of the sheep and that it had ample grazing. Despite it being stuck on the bottom of the cliffs, it was not known who the sheep belonged to. A petition for her rescue garnered in excess of 52,000 signatures. Okay, now in 2021, it was believed that the sheep would find its way to the fields above the cliffs. On November 3rd, the sheep, now called Fiona, was rescued from the bottom of the cliffs by local farmers Al's cousins, Graham Parker and James Parker, and Ali Williamson, led by the Ayrshire sheep shearer and BBC television presenter Cammy Wilson. A winch at the top of the cliffs was operated by 2 of the farmers, while 3 others descended 250 meters down the cliff. Fiona was found in a cave. She was then inspected by an inspector from the Scottish SPA and described as being in good condition, though needing shearing. Wilson said that Fiona was in an incredible condition. She is about a condition score of about 4.5. She is over fat. It was some job lifting her up the slope. He said that the only difference between us being heroes and idiots is a slip of the foot. He said that he would do it again, but maybe not tomorrow though, because I'm knackered. Wilson said Wilson said that he was motivated to rescue Fiona after reading disparaging comments online about the farmer that owned her. The farmer had previously tried to retrieve her from the shoreline at the base of the cliffs, but was unable to do so without risking his and his employees' safety. When rescued, Fiona weighed 92 kilograms or 203 pounds without her wool, which weighed 9 kilograms or 20 pounds and was poor quality. So with her wool and everything, so she would probably have been 223 pounds. That's a lot of, she got 20 pounds of weight on her. Fiona was moved to a new permanent home at Dulscone Farm Park near Dumfries. A short film of Fiona's rescue was made available on the Sheep Game YouTube channel on November 12th, 2023. The rescue of Fiona will be broadcast on BBC Scotland's Landward program on November 16th. So there, you got some interesting stuff there, you guys. I hope, this is, brought some, brought something to your attention, as far as like animal protection and stuff. Trying to, you got to take care of them too. Animals, sometimes they get in predicaments and they can't help themselves. They don't have thumbs. They don't have, a lot of them don't have thumbs and fingers like we do. Makes it hard for them to do what they need to do sometimes. But I hope that you guys enjoy these stories. And if you want, you can look into them further, and see what you can dig up on them as well. But I do, however, I do have some pictures and stuff on here. I hope you guys enjoy them. I hope you like the way that this, just all these different stories, my God, we got, you got Shrek, Alex, Chris, Fiona, and then you got the nanny, the nanny goat. All these stories are intriguing. Shrek and the nanny, they survived 16 years. It's a long time, that's it's a good long time. And it's sad for the sheep because the wool, they can't, the goat doesn't have to worry about that like the sheep does, but nevertheless, it's still challenging. And I guarantee it was far more challenging for the sheep with all that added weight on them. Hurting their limbs and stuff, their joints. That's a lot of weight pressing down on you, added on weight that their body's probably not adjusted for. But anyways, this here is Local Legends. We're doing, we've done the Powell Mountain Goat and the Lost Sheep. And if you guys want more of these, and these are going to be local legends from all around the world, okay? They're local to you. If you got a local legend, hey, by any means, throw it down in the comments. I'll look it up. We'll go ahead and try and do some research on it and see what we can find out and bring it to the forefront for people. We want to make people aware, of things like this, that need to be brought to people's attention. And as I said, there is I think it's called the Powell Mountain Goat Facebook page. You can check that out if you want to look into it. They got people that's on there. I just brushed through it and I just seen it. I didn't really get into it and look too into that, but you can if you'd like to. So, let's bring awareness to animals and stuff, and try and protect them. We got to look out for them, because you know what? In instances, they definitely look out for us. Okay. So that'll be that. And I hope you guys enjoy this. And if you want to see more of these Local Legends episodes, throw it in the comments down below. Let me know. Let me know what you think about the stories. Did you enjoy them? Did you hate them? Did you enjoy them? Did you think I could have done more? Did I drop the ball on this one? Did I not do enough? Or, whatever. Whatever you want to put in there. But whoever watches this, I appreciate you for staying tuned into this channel and watching this. But I really think these were very interesting stories. Okay, and I hope you do too. And that's the episode 1 for Local Legends right there. Okay, Powell Mountain Goat and the Lost Sheep.